Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. You know, a lot of my brothers are dead or gone, but they've been hanging on the block a little too long. What can I say? I hope they live to see a brighter day. And the ones that are doing fine, God bless you, 'cause you're doing fine. At the end of the day, don't forget about me. As days turn to weeks, and weeks turn to years, oh, I feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see you're not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother.
Hi, my name is Angelo Heath, and I'm from Smyrna, Delaware. Needless to say, my name is Angelo Heath, and I was born and raised in Smyrna, and I grew up in the McLean Gardens, and this is one of the areas where we did our mischief. I thank God for changing my life, and this is my good friend here, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Heath. I'm from Wilmington, Delaware. I had moved to Smyrna, Delaware in the late 80s. I grew up out McLean Gardens with Angelo. It was a fun place to live at one time until the drugs came along. And everything changed, our attitude changed, we thought differently. Everybody became selfish. It wasn't about friends. Everybody just wanted their stuff. It was about me, me, me.
These are the two houses we used to live in. We used to live in 905. I used to live in 905, and Jerome, he lived in 904. And this is where everything started off. Yeah, all the craziness started off. And you know, that's pretty much it. You got anything?
I got a brother, two brothers and two sisters. But my little brother, Andre, them two. That's how they got started.
Yeah. Me and my boy, he's not here today. I'm not gonna say his name, but yeah, it was crazy how we got started. And once we got started, and like I said earlier, it was because we all had the same struggle, and our struggle was we all needed, you know, our families, you know, we were struggling together, and so that was the only way that we knew out, because because of the streets. We didn't have no positive role models in our lives, you know, telling us the right way to go about things. You know, mostly what we learned was from right here, from the streets. And was it a good thing learning from the streets? For that time, it was, because we didn't know nothing else. And our ultimate goal was to survive, and that was by all means necessary. And so we turned to the drug game, and our intentions were to get out of the projects by selling drugs, but we end up, you know, going a little further. So that's my story.
Yeah, when you're young and you selling drugs, you don't realize the damage that you're doing to homes, the lives that you're affecting. You don't realize that. You know, you just thinking of yourself. You're trying to get some money, to get some sneakers, to get something to eat, to give your mom some money. So we've caused a lot of damage in homes. We used to go to people's houses and see the way they live, and that still didn't matter. You know, we still served them. Still gave that mom the drugs, still gave the dad the drugs. Even though the kid was hungry, we still served them. Still took the food stamps. Knowing those kids needed that food, but we still did it. We didn't realize the impact that we was doing at that time, but now with grown men, we realize, you know, how wrong we were. Yeah. You know, the impact, the trouble that we did, that we caused around here.
And when you really think about it, we were selfish. You know, we were thinking about ourselves. You know, again, we all had the same struggles. But yet at the same time, we were being selfish because we wanted to make sure our home was covered. Because you don't understand how bad it feels to see your little brother or your siblings or your mom, them, needing food, needing something to eat. And I understand. I understand why, some of us or some of you go out there to hustle. I understand. But the whole goal for this documentary is to let you know that there are other resources. There are other opportunities. But the thing is, when you're trapped in this bubble, you can't see the other opportunities. When you don't have anybody speaking positive in your ear, you don't understand that there are other opportunities. The only thing that you know is that this is where it's going to happen. This is where we're going to make it happen. This is where we're going to. This is how we're going to get out of this project. This is how we're going to get out of this hood. This is how we're going to get off the street. But that's not the way that you're going to get off the street. You will get off the street by going to jail or getting killed. But there's a good way. There's a positive way to get out of this project. Get your education. Finding a good job. I know the question is, how can I get a good education? I don't have money to go to school. But there is funding out there. If there's nobody out there to tell you that there's funding, you'll think the only way out of here is to sell drugs. Get a job. If there's nobody telling you that there's jobs out there, how do I know it's a job out there if I'm stuck in this bubble? And that's the problem. That's the problem with the project. It's a bubble. And there's nobody outside that's trying to influence the people in the bubble, right? Because we're looking at them, the bubble people. I done made it out. I done survived. Now they're gonna have to go down the road that I went down, or they're gonna have to get out of this project the best way that they can. But the problem is, when you get out, you have to look back at the bubble. And when you look back at the bubble, it's your responsibility to bust the bubble. This bubble is here. This bubble is real. And you don't know it's real unless you experienced it. And when you come out from experiencing it, then it's your job to say, look, I got the needle to bust this bubble. I survived. I know how to get out. And I might not have got out the way that some other people got out, but I'm out. And I might have got out the wrong way, but now I know the right way. So now I'm going to bust this bubble. I'm sorry for talking so much. I'm going to let this room talk.
And we'll piggyback on what he said. When you're young, the decisions that you make can cost you your life. And that little 3-second decisions you made will cost you 30 years of your life. So like I would tell my son, every decision you make, you think about it. Every move that you make, you have to think first before you make your move. Make a good decision. You're either going to go left or you're going to go right. But always make a good decision. Always think before you react.
Can y'all tell us about like a typical day living here when you live here? What was your day like?
A typical day living here. Like right now, for example,
wake up early in the morning. Wake up early in the morning.
We outside on the basketball court where we'll end up eventually going. We're outside. Did we eat breakfast? I don't even think we ate breakfast. If we had breakfast, this was before we started hustling. And then once we started hustling, we might go to the diner and get some breakfast and then come out here and play basketball. And we'll sit out here all day long. Yes, we did brush our teeth and wash our faces before we came out. But that was, we didn't have the computers or the social media that's available to the kids now. We had to come outside. We had to play. We had to do what we had to do to keep our day occupied.
Right. Yeah, just like he said, we'll wake up, play basketball. We would play with the younger kids, play with them, chase them around. Something they don't do no more. You know what I mean? Like, we used to interact with the young kids. We was older. And that's what I grew up on. The older guys used to play with us, mentor us, teach us the right thing, give us some good advice, give us some bad advice. But it was some advice, though. But now, it's not like that no more. You got adults our age, grown men, that's not willing to, help out young kids. You got young guys hanging out with young guys. Young kids hanging out with young kids. They all on the same page. They all got the same mindset. They all think the same. So you understand where's that going to go? It's not going to be nothing good. So basically, we need more mentors. We need more black men that's willing to go out there in the community and help out the younger kids and give back and tell them and let them know that jail is not cool. It's not the place to be. Because I guarantee you, there's not one person in jail that want to be in there. Not one person want to be in there.
All right, well, good word, man. Good word, man. Good stuff, man. I'm telling you. I knew it was something good in you. I will say this. Even though we were selfish, but we made sure that none of these little kids ran around here without. We made sure that they had something. Even when the ice cream man came, if we went to the store to get something to eat, little kids get something to eat. And let me tell you why I did that. And I'm not trying to give none of the drug dealers, I'm not trying to give the drug dealers or gang members an idea, but it kept their mouths shut when the cops came. They wouldn't tell on us. They wouldn't tell where we were at. So whenever we needed something or they needed something, we made sure that they had it. And plus, we knew how it felt not to have a father in the home. We knew how it felt. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're gonna walk around and show you all some areas where we used to hang out and spend time with the little kids and with ourselves.
And see, now back then, these fences are brand new. They the stainless ones. But we used to have little cut-in fences where we can cut in the back and go run from the police and run on that side or run back there. But they done got smart and put these gates up. You ain't getting over there running from them. You stuck in here.
Yes, yes.
You know, they got cameras out here. All this stuff wasn't here before.
Now they cleaned it up. When they took us off the street, me, his brother, which he called his name, when they took us off the street, it was like a breath of fresh air to them. They cleaned the place up.
Yeah.
And am I glad I went to jail? No, but it changed my life though. It changed my life for the better. And like you said earlier, did I want to be in jail? No, I didn't want to be in jail. And once again, one of the reasons why I want to be in jail because of freedom. I like my freedom. But did I do anything to try to stay out of jail? No.
Right here, that used to be the tunnel right here. It's closed up now. Right between that red door and that brown garage door was a tunnel. We used to hang out in there and drink, smoke, drink. That was our hangout spot right in there.
And shoot dice, eat shrimp, ate plenty of shrimp.
Be out there all night.
All night, rain.
6 o'clock in the morning out here.
Rain, sleet, snow, hell, heat. We were stuck in there all night long.
Yeah.
We did some crazy stuff up in there, but we ain't gonna tell it all.
Yeah. All right.
They were having a meeting about me and his brother about the amount of drug traffic that was coming through here, and they were trying to figure out what to do to cut it, or to kill it, or to resolve the issue. And I busted up in the meeting and tried to shut it down. Try to shut the meeting down. And my aunt, I ain't gonna say her name, but she the one tipped me off about the meeting, and she lived out here then. So, but I just wanted to let you know how bad it was and how serious we were about the game. But we were wrong though. We were wrong for doing those types of things. But thank God. I thank God for the change, because now the former manager of this development or this project, former manager, she looks at us now and she's amazed by the improvement or by the change that God made in our lives. And I want to give God some praise too, because hey, it was him. It was him that did this thing. It was him that cleaned me up. It was him that cleaned this project up. And we give him all the praise. What we used to do, we used to come out on the court early in the morning, and about noontime, maybe all day, going at it hard, sweating bullets, about to pass out in the sun. We had to do something.
This was the battleground 4-on-4. Like, we said, people come from Middletown and Dover come out here to play.
Spank them tails.
That's how good the games were out here.
Yes, sir.
Battleground. Fights, a lot of fights out here too.
As you can see,
a lot of fights.
I ain't lost.
Yeah, this was the battleground.
This was like this was our release. From take our mind off of all the stress and the issues, the problems we had, at home. It was our release. Played basketball. We went out there. We went, now and then we did some crazy stuff, but we went out there just looking for somebody to kill. just to, just to feel good about our day, or looking for somebody to beat down. But if somebody came wrong, we had to do what we had to do. But we would never go looking for it, though.
Nah, you don't. I don't get it. You don't wake up in the morning and want to kill people and shoot people. That's not the mentality that you want. You should love people.
Like you want to be loved. All right. Now we're going to take y'all to some of the spots where we used to hustle at. Around right here, there's one here now, but it was an older one.
Jungle.
And it was called we called it the Jungle Gym. Had this big, wide metal slide. Yeah, wooden toy, but it had a big, wide metal sliding board. And when we were coming up, that was our way of proving who had good sneakers on. If you ran up the sliding board and didn't slide back down, you had some good sneakers on. So we were so poor, we got our shoes for like Acme, or I think it was Acme at the time.
Aisle 6.
And we used to, you go in the box, they had a box of shoes, you pick them out, and I knew I had Vodovoz on, but the way I survived, I would lick my hand and put spit on the bottom of my shoe. And I had enough spit on my shoe to make it up the ladder. But coming down, up the slide, but coming down, I had problems because the spits wore off and I slid right down and I exposed myself. Yeah, those were the struggle days.
Yeah.
Those were the struggle days.
He's old foul.
Yeah, we had a merry-go-round out here too. We used to spin each other around as fast as they could, and with the girls, we used to touch their butts. We used to touch their butts when they was going by.
He did not me.
And then sometimes, we was all young, and sometimes we spin so fast, you pass out and then it fell off the merry-go-round. But hey, that's what we call fun. We wasn't out there shooting nobody. We wasn't out there looking for nobody to beat up for no reason at all. We made fun out of the little bit that we had. There is some ways to have fun without doing crazy stuff.
Mom 30. Yeah. Actually, the card house right there. Card games is in there.
One day, the day that I got busted, I was walking down this fire lane, and a police officer seen me walking down here, and he knew I wasn't allowed out here, and he was going to arrest me for trespassing. And I had all this dope on me. Didn't even run. Usually I run, but for whatever reason, this day I didn't run. And I was walking along just nonchalantly, and as soon as I got to this corner, I was out of his sight. And I stuck all my dope inside of a bush. And I thought it was still in the bush. But my little cousin, when the cop called my name, my little cousin said, "Angelo, you dropped something." The dope fell out of the bush. And that day was one of the moments that changed my life. I had got busted. I had a lot of dope on me. I had got busted. For whatever reason, I didn't run. I think it was my time. It was my time to, for my turning point to come. But the little boy was only probably about 6 years old. I'm not gonna call his name, but he said, "Angelo, you dropped something." And man, I was like, "Oh my God!" And he said it after I had the handcuffs on me. But Timmons, the police officer, he seen it, and he knew it was mine. He knew it was mine. I tried to get out of it, but my fingerprints was all over the dope. So that's how I got my time. Right here. Changed my life. One of the things that changed my life right there.
Yeah, this was the little community center. We have little dances at inside there. Little parties and stuff in there.
This is where they were having a meeting about me and his brother. We was having a meeting in here. They were having a meeting in here. And this is where I busted up in and I tried to shut it down. Mind you, I'm only 17, 18 years old, and I'm trying to shut down a meeting that they had about me. So I just proved to them that I was a violent person.
Exactly who you were.
Yep, exactly. All the information that they had on me, I just proved it by doing something stupid. By doing something stupid.
Yeah. Back here. This is where people used to come back and hide at back here. because it'd be a little darker at night. So you can stand back in the shadows, stand back there, or you can stand back here all night, and then you can see the police come by, because it's just the only way they can come in. And you can stand back here and watch them all night. We can sit in the shadows in the dark, watch the police.
And this right here was this was like our drive-through. the crackheads would come drive in here, and we take care of them. As soon as one back out, another one come in. And if I was down here, then his brother would be up there. He'd be getting them. If there was too much traffic, I would take care of them down here, and he would take care of them up in the parking lot. We had a system going. But guess what? It worked. It worked. And everybody out here, when nobody was talking, wasn't nobody saying nothing to us about us, but behind closed doors, they was talking about us.
Yeah. The code word back in the day was 5-0.
5-0. 5-0.
5-0. You heard that? You already know.
Yes, sir. 5-0. You don't know what 5-0 was, right? Hawaii 5-0.
Yeah,
Police.
now the young boys call them 12 now.
Call them 12.
They call them 12, but back then they was call them 5-0.
One out of them 12.
Yeah, that's what they get. One out of 12.
Yeah, that's where they got it from.
Yeah.
Memories, man.
Back here, walk.
Yeah, we might walk.
Come back in here.
Yeah, all of this.
This was another spot right there.
Yeah, we walk up there.
Yeah, this was another spot that we used to hang out, hustle out. There should be some steps right up there. Now they took the steps away.
Yeah, they didn't have the fence there either.
That fence wasn't there. There used to be some steps. We can walk up there and chill by them steps.
And look,
All day.
we used to sit back here, and if we didn't see the parking lot, or notice that there was some drug users coming, if we see them up there, we'd holler, yay! Woo! And they knew the sign, and they would come, they would park, and they would walk down here. We would stay in cover, but they was exposed. We didn't care.
Yeah.
But we trying to get the money. That's on you to get busted. But this was another one of our little hiding spots.
Hiding spot. Even that path over there, they didn't cut down them trees across the street. You walk that way? Across the street, used to be a path with nothing but woods over there. We used to be inside there, hiding out. But you can see those cameras up there, man. They really turned this place around for the good, for the better.
Yeah.
For the better. See the cameras on it right there. Wow. It's right on.
Yeah, I see it moving.
You see it moving?
Yeah.
What is going on?
I'm trying to tell you, this right here was the spot. When we wanted to chill, we didn't want to hustle. We come right here, sit on this green spot. Some of us would have some stuff on us, but some of us be clean. And man, we would have our double deuces and have a weed. We have a lick. And I'm trying to tell you, we would sit here and we would party all night long. Music cranking, just straight up chilling, having fun. This was our club right here. This section was the club section. My goodness, boy.
Change.
Yeah, and then they cleaned it up.
They cleaned it up and nobody outside.
We cleaned it up. Yeah, we should sit here.
This was an open air drug market. We should sit up here. We come right here for a second.
Yeah, we don't in the street.
We should come right here.
They didn't move the step.
They moved the step, but these fences wasn't here. So we would sit right down here and hustle, and any cars that came down the street, they was getting served. And that's easy, that's simple. They'll come right down here and park. They'll sit right there, run up to them, or sit here, they'll park right here, run right up to them, they'll drive away.
Just like a flea market.
Here comes the next one.
Just like a flea market. Just pulling right on through.
Pull right on up.
I kid you not, we had cars lined up, waiting like they in the drive-through. Like they in the drive, everybody in windows.
But it wasn't always glamorous either, though, because you had some drug addicts that was real hard, and they would definitely try to rob you. Pull out guns on you, knives on you. They taking your package, driving off. You holding on the car. They drag you down the street because you're scared to give up $100 worth of drugs.
I remember my first gun. I had a revolver. It was a 38 Special. And my cousin, I ain't gonna say his name, he owed me $20. And that was that day. It was the first time I ever snorted cocaine. And I did not know that that's how it made you react or respond. I was gonna shoot this guy over $20. It's crazy. And the thing about it, he was bigger than me. He said, man, you little punk. He said, man, I take that gun from you. And that made me even more aggravated. But something clicked, like, man, it's only $20. Matter of fact, his brother said it's only $20, but because of the effect that the drugs played in my mind, you know, it was more than that. It was my, you know, you disrespecting me. You know, I'm going to shoot my cousin over $20 because of disrespect. And if I did something like, if I had killed him, I've been in jail for $20 because this man disrespected me. Come on, man. That's dumb. Now it's dumb, but then, you know, hey, you disrespected me. It's $20. Man, it's crazy. My first gun, had a gun 2 days. I'm cocky now. I got me a revolver, and the only bullets I had was what was in the gun. So that's crazy.
Yeah. He made a good decision. Because kids today, they would have pulled the trigger, thought nothing less about it.
And you're right.
They would have did it, thought nothing less about it.
But see, the thing is, I had somebody next to me that gave me some good information. That gave me some that told me it ain't worth it. Right. And see, you need to surround yourself with people that's gonna say, look, it ain't worth it. You know, it ain't worth shooting. You know, it ain't worth doing that. It's foolishness. Think about all you got to lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Surround yourself with some good friends.
One more spot.
Some good friends.
Yeah, this is right here.
Yeah, this was the big tree right here. The big shady tree.
Yeah. This was another spot where I used to hustle at. I had a lawn chair. People thought I was crazy. I would sit out here in the lawn chair and all day long hustling. Winter time, I'm out here in a lawn chair with a mink coat on, hustling. I never forget my cousin from Middletown. He sold me a nanny goat coat, which was a mink. And I'm out here in a lawn chair with this big old mink on winter time. Looked like somebody just came out of the safari, hustling.
Gold on the finger.
No, gold on. Yeah, had the three finger rings, had the big chains on. Pocket full of money, probably about $4,000 or $5,000 in his pocket, and probably a couple ounces in his pocket, and out here in the darn lawn chair. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was a time where the police didn't really, I guess they wasn't up to, you know,
they wasn't aware of it.
They wasn't aware how, you know, serious it was going on out here, because we be literally bold with drugs on, they go right by us.
And the reason why they wasn't aware of it, because once again, like I said earlier, the hood or the project is the bubble. And if you're outside of the bubble, you don't know what's going on in the bubble. You don't understand the struggle. And see, and the cops, only thing they seen was everybody that's in the bubble is together. That's all that matters to them. As long as they don't come over there where we at, where the peace is at, then it's fine. You know, we'll let them do them. But they didn't realize the magnitude of the drug trafficking that was coming through this area. I kid you not. It was days me and his brother would make $5,000 or $10,000 at the age of 16, 17 years old. I would go to school, not bragging, I would go to school with like $6,000 or $7,000 in my pocket, buying everybody's lunch. And they wonder where this guy gets $6,000 or $7,000 from. Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But thank God that I'm changed. Thank God that he done something different in my life, and thank God for all the struggles. You know, I just want to thank God for, you know, just I thank God for getting busted, because like I said earlier, that was like that was the beginning, that was the pivotal point of me changing. And go ahead, Ron.
And what you don't understand is, when you're young, you're not going to be young forever. You're going to grow up, you're going to be an adult, you're going to want to have a family, you're going to have a wife, kids, you're going to have a house, a car, nice things. But you're not going to be able to make that change if you don't change yourself in the way you think, your mindset, and you're gonna have to want to grow. You have to do better in life. You're not going to be a child. You're going to be 30, 40, 50. You're going to be 50 years old on the street with nothing.
Doing the same thing.
Hanging on the street with the guy you hung with 25 years ago.
No goals.
No goals. Everybody content. Everybody living the same way. Nah, that's not the way to live. That's not life. That's not like doing life in jail. It's not good. You got 19-year-old boys and girls doing life in jail at 19, 20, 21 years old, haven't experienced life yet.
Younger than that.
You want to live life, experience life, enjoy life. You're living on this earth, you're here for a reason. You got to take advantage of it.
Yes, sir. Every opportunity. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Those days.
How does it feel being back here, reminiscing?
I haven't been out here in years. It feels good because it's different. You see the change. You see how quiet it is out there. Nobody hanging out. No empty beer bottles. No drug baggies on the ground and stuff like that. Needles. They used to shoot up a lot back in the day, man. People got needles laying around and stuff.
Yeah. For me, I haven't been here in a long time either, but just to see the change, and it kind of touches me, deep, because I realized that my lifestyle and his brother, we destroyed this project. We destroyed a lot of lives. We messed up a lot of families. And we not only did we mess up a lot of families, but we helped keep generational curses going. And it hurt me, and that's one of the reasons why I volunteered to be a part of this documentary, because I know that the lifestyle that I lived, it wasn't good. And I want to do whatever I can to try to change the young people's thinking about society, about life alone, and about their personal goals. But just to look back and see how this place has changed and how they cleaned it up, man, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed, and I just pray that this documentary will reach other projects or hoods, as you would call it, and maybe a change will come in there as well. And that's how I feel about coming back up here.
Yeah, I want to say this too. When you're selling drugs in your community, every negative things you see going around, all the shooting, all the killings, all the robberies, if you're selling drugs, you're responsible. You're the reason, you're the cause of why all that stuff is happening.
All right, yep.
You may not be doing the shooting and robbing, but while you're selling drugs, you're the cause and you are the reason why that's going on.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Welcome home. Again, everybody in the bubble had the same mentality.
Yes.
And everybody outside of the bubble, they stayed to themselves. Didn't they, Ron?
Yeah.
They stayed to themselves. They stayed to themselves.
It's one thing about when you poor, you realize you don't poor. You don't realize how poor you are because everybody around you living the same way.
Yep.
So everybody's happy, you're having fun, but we all living the same way. You don't realize until you move up out of here and go somewhere else and you see how they're living.
Yep.
That's how it was.
We
ain't know we was poor like that.
I'm gonna tell you what we all had in common. Two things. One, we all was poor, and two, we all had love. We loved each other, didn't we? We loved each other because, once again, we all struggled together. And if I didn't have sugar, I'd go to Jerome's house and he'd give me some sugar or onion. If he didn't have an onion, he'd get an onion from me.
He used to live with us.
Yeah, I did.
He used to live with us out there.
Yeah, when we was homeless, we eventually ended up being homeless, and I was staying with them. Yeah, it's crazy.
You grew up in?
Well, I grew up in Smyrna, Delaware. Well, actually, a little on the outskirts of Smyrna, Delaware, and we grew up poor. We grew up extremely poor. Had to pump, had to garden, and not only that, we didn't really have much. We really didn't have much, and we they did their best, and we survived. And because of that, it taught me something, and it made me the person that I am today.
Awesome. So who were you raised by, and what was your relationship like with the person that raised you?
I was raised by my grandmother up until I was about 10 or 11, because my mother, she had me at a young age, and I understood, then I didn't understand, why things were the way they were, but now as I've gotten older, I understand, she couldn't take care of me because she was young herself. So, with that being said, it worked out in my favor.
Awesome. All right, at some point in your life, were you incarcerated?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and can you tell me a little bit about what you were incarcerated for?
Well, on one occasion, the main occasion, I got busted for narcotics, and I got charged with trafficking and possession with the intent to deliver cocaine. And actually, it was my first time ever going to jail, and I got sentenced to jail time. And the plea bargain that they had gave me, it was small, but for the amount of drugs I had, it was worth me taking that plea. So with that being said, I successfully made it out of the prison system, by following all the rules and all the guidelines. And I thought it would have made me a changed person, but I ended up going back to doing it again. And we'll talk about that later on in the questions.
Okay, so you were a repeat offender with being incarcerated.
Yes.
All right, and each time, did you serve all of your time, or did you max out early? How did that work out for you?
I served all of my time.
Okay, and what did you think about the most while you were incarcerated?
I thought about my mother. My reason for thinking about my mother so much because I might get a little emotional, but as I stated earlier, she didn't raise me until a certain age because she was young, and I was angry with her because I thought she abandoned me. But now as I've gotten older, I realized that if she didn't let my grandmother raise me, Lord knows where I might have been. And because of that, I harbored a lot of bitterness and anger towards her. And when I was out there selling drugs and doing everything that I could possibly do, being disobedient to her because I couldn't hear her because of her supposedly abandoning me. And when I went to jail, she was the only person that came to see me. She didn't miss a week. She was there for every visit. She even came to visit me sick. And that's the only thing that I had to hold on to.
Take your time.
That's the only thing that I had to hold on to that would help me survive the journey that I was on. It was a journey that was so lonely. All the fellas that I was out on the block with, hustling with, the ones that told me that they had my back and that, that they would go through the thick and the thin more so with me. When I went to jail, didn't see none of them. None of them sent me any commissary. The only ones that looked out for me was my mother and my brother. And I felt so bad because I didn't think she cared, because she supposedly abandoned me, but she didn't. It was just because of, the circumstance of her being young when she had me.
That was powerful. So during the time when you were incarcerated, did you have any children? And what were your relationships like with them, if you did? And did your relationships deteriorate because of being incarcerated?
Yes, at that time I had 2 children. My oldest son, he passed. He's been dead for probably about 10 years now. And my other son was little Angelo. And I would say he was probably, when I went to jail, he probably was a couple months old. So he really didn't know, but it did affect him somehow because the first 3 years of his life I was incarcerated, and a child always needs their father in their life. a child always needs their father or their mother, or both parents in their life. And I truly believe that it impacted him in some way, because I see some of my old self in him now, and that's why I have a little bit of compassion for him, because I understand if God did it for me, He'll do it for him, and I'm holding on to that.
Awesome. And how did being in prison, being incarcerated, how did that change you?
Well, like I stated earlier, it allowed me to see who my real friends were, and it showed me who really loved me and really cared about me. And it made me think. It made me think about all the stuff that I was losing out on, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. And at some point, I know you were incarcerated for selling drugs. At some point in time, were you addicted to drugs?
Yes. While I was selling, I was smoking. I was smoking marijuana, smoking weed, and I was smoking coolies. Coolies is when you put the crack cocaine inside of the cigarette, and I was smoking them as well.
Okay. And what point in time in your life did you decide it was time for a change? What made you change your life around?
Well, it's funny that you say that. It wasn't a decision that I made, but yet I made the decision. And I'm going to explain to you. Some 26 and a half years ago, a female that I was dating at the time, she was going to a church in Slaughter Neck. And I thought she was sleeping with the pastor's son. And all day long I was out selling drugs, I was smoking coolies and weed, drinking double deuces, and I was feeling pretty good. And she was going to church Sunday, she was going to church Tuesday, she was going to church Thursdays. And I'm under the impression this guy picking her up, she got to be sleeping with him. So I made up in my mind, the next service she go to, I'm going with her. And she didn't know it, but that next service that came, I went with her. And when I got down to service that night, Lord have mercy, 26 and a half years ago, I've never touched drugs, I never womanized, I never drank. My whole life was changed in that one moment of that night of being in the presence of God. That's how my life changed. God changed my life, but I made a decision to stay changed.
Okay, and then talk about the difference in your mindset and your mental state. Then when you were out there, you were on drugs, you were selling drugs, and womanizing, and doing all the stuff that you were doing, about how your mindset has changed up until now.
Well, I believe a lot of maturity has. I've matured quite a bit. When I was out there, I didn't care about anything. When I was out there in the world, I didn't care about too much, because I was enjoying myself. I was making money. I was enjoying the women, if I could say that, and I was having fun. When you're in sin, doing those things, it's having fun. And now, on this side, I realize that there are more important things than those things that I thought I was having fun doing. I thought my hope was in the streets. My hope was in the streets because I didn't have a role model. Well, I'm gonna take that back. I did have a role model. My uncle, he was my role model. But at the same time, I didn't have that father figure in my life. That person that was going to be stern with me, that was going to tell me the right things to do, rather if I liked it or not. And I turned to the streets for that, and everything that I was searching for, I got it from the streets. Whether if it was good or bad, but in this case, everything was bad. And now, since I've changed and matured, I realized that all the hope that I had in the streets, and it wasn't no hope. It wasn't nothing positive. I thought there was no goals for me. I thought the street life was it for me. But as I changed, I realized that this world was bigger than just McLean Gardens, bigger than just Kirkwood Street, bigger than Mifflin Meadows. Only thing I could see was those 3 locations. But now, it's bigger than that.
Awesome. So tell us, each time you were incarcerated, and you came out of jail, like looking for employment as a black man, coming back into community, come back into society. Tell us about that. Like, was it hard for you to find employment? So now I can't find employment, I'm going back to selling and doing the things that I know. Like, how did that work for you? Tell us about that.
Well, when I finally got out of jail, I ended up going back doing the same thing again, as I said to you previously. And then I ended up getting saved. The Lord ended up entering in my life. And it wasn't difficult for me to get a job because, for one, I'm a people's person. And I had some connections. I had some connections with jobs. And it was easy for me to get a job. And once I got the job, I stayed on it. And I've been faithful to, my assignment since then.
Awesome. Sounds good. So what do you do now?
Now I'm a precast inspector, a precast bridge inspector. I inspect bridge structures. I inspect all types of precast structures and concrete. And we do bridge surveys. We check the, don't want to get too deep into it because I could talk for hours about it. I work for the Delaware Department of Transportation, and I've been doing it for 17 years, and I love it. I love it. And if I could say one thing, and it might be in my summary, this person that you see now, I had the same potential when I was out on the block, and that's why it's easy for me to have compassion on people, because I had these skills when I was out on the street, but I just didn't have anybody to give me a chance to exercise them. So I'm saying all that to say this: don't judge a person because they're on the corner. What they're doing might be wrong, but they still have potential. You just got to give them a chance.
Absolutely. So tell us about where you are today. What's different about your life? Where you are now, like your family structure and things of that nature. Like, what do you do in your free time? Like, I know you're a minister, so tell us more about that.
Well, I'm happily married almost 17 years, and I can honestly say we never had an argument. Like, we never had an argument 17 years. And we have a, what word can I use? What type of, we're going to edit this. What word do we use? Commingle the family that we have. Blended, yes. We have a blended family. And like I said earlier, we had 9 children. My oldest one, he passed. So we have a blended family of 8 children. And I try to teach them, or we teach them and show them that first of all, to love each other, to love on each other, and whatever you need in life, work hard to get it. Work hard. You don't have to steal. You don't have to kill. You don't have to rob. You can ask us for it, or work hard to try to get it. What was the second part of that question?
Okay. So let's go to, do you have any regrets?
Regrets in
about life itself? Is there anything that you regret?
Yes, I do. I have. The only thing that I regret, and I've been praying to the Lord to give me peace with it, and that's that I didn't spend more time with my mom. I didn't spend more time with my mom. If I could have anything else in life to replace the things that I have now, and that was to spend more time with my mom and talk to her and listen to what she had to say to me, instead of blocking it out and doing my own thing. My mom.
Okay, and tell me about your life's lessons. What did you learn from it all, like throughout life? What was your biggest life lesson?
My biggest life lesson was to choose my friends and not let them choose me. That's my biggest life lesson.
And what's your give back today?
My give back today is I want to make sure that other young people don't follow the footsteps that I went down, and not only that, I just want them to know that the streets, they don't have nothing to offer to you. That there is hope, and that there is a way out, and that there's something, that there is something bigger than you in the streets, and that there's some potential inside of you. That's the word I'm looking for. There's some potential deep inside of you that you need to tap into. And I promise you, if you tap into that thing that is deep down on the inside of you, greater will come in your life. Greatness will overtake you. Your skies will be the limit. There's nothing in life that you won't be able to do. You could be the president of the United States. You could be the governor. You could be the senator. You could be the best father. You could be the best mother. You could be the best parent. But you got to get in touch with that thing that's deep down inside of you, that's been buried by hurt, that's been buried by pain, that's been buried by disappointments, that's been buried by things that happened in your life as a child, that's been buried by bitterness, that's been buried by unforgiveness. If you can get in touch with that place that's inside of you, I promise you, God will make a way in your life where things will be so much peacefuler.
And tell us a little bit about your ministry.
Well, I'm the state evangelist for the Calvary Pentecostal Churches Incorporated, and my pastor is Bishop Harold E. Hazard, and we're out of Milford, Delaware. And I'm a faithful, I can say I'm a faithful and dedicated leader of the Calvary Pentecostal Church Incorporated.
So in summary, like, what would you say to the youth about the impact of violence, drug, gangs, or anything about living the street life? What's your message to the black community?
My message to the black community is stop the violence. There is a hell, if I could use that in this documentary. There is a place after this life. And if you don't make the right decision, you're going to end up in hell. And not only that, there is hope. There is hope for you. There is hope for someone else. And the gun violence, it has to stop. Once you pull that trigger, you can't put that bullet back in that gun. You can't put that bullet back in that gun.
We got Angelo, Heath, and they coming in that order. Can we stand?
Amen. Somebody clap those hands and give God some praise. Amen. Mighty name of God brought some amazing words. Amen. While you were talking and teaching, the Lord had dropped something in my spirit. And Paul had said in Romans, he said, for I reckon that the suffering of this present time is not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in you. What are you saying, preacher? God told me to tell somebody today that you ain't seen nothing yet. God said, I'm about to blow your mind. You thought I blessed you before. You thought I brought you out before. You thought I made a way for you before. You thought I delivered before. You thought the kids were doing right before. Now, after I finish this time, God said, I'm about to show you something that's not only going to blow your mind, but not only going to blow your haters' mind, but it's going to blow your mind. And look at your neighbor, say, neighbor, oh, neighbor, God is about to show up in your life. So get ready, get ready. God is about to move. Things are about to happen in your life. I dare you to give God some praise. Come on and give
So Mrs. Heath, can you tell us how it's been, how long you've been married, what Mr. Heath was like when you married him, different things of that nature. Just tell us about your 17-year history.
Okay, well, it's been not quite 17 years. It'll be 17 years this year in November the 12th. It's been good. It's been good. He's been a good husband. He's been a good stepfather to my children, and just us trying to blend our families together. Some rocky roads and a little bit of a rocky road in the beginning with just getting everybody together and being adjusted to step parents and whatnot. But I would say with the help of the Lord, we transitioned through that pretty smoothly. We both had a few issues in the beginning with because we're both remarried, just blending our past together and communicating, our difficulties from the past and stuff, but that helped us to grow and to develop a friendship. So, and I would say because of that, that helped us to grow into our marriage, and with the help of the Lord, just helping us to be honest with one another and going forward. And I would say it's been great.
So were you aware of like any of his past issues and the things of that nature, like any of the things he's done in his past, being incarcerated, the drug addiction, selling drugs? Tell us, what you knew about his past when you married him.
When we first began communicating and talking, I met him through the church and everything, so I did hear him tell part of his testimony, like in services and things. And then when we would talk, it's always been very comfortable being able to communicate with him and tell him things about myself, and he would share with me things from his past, from what it was like growing up, to the streets, to everything, a lot of stuff that he's already shared with everyone. And we were just very open, relationships and everything, so that was the foundation of our building our trust. So, and we've always kept that line of communication open, and I would say that's just been the secret to our marriage. We've never had an argument all these years, and I think that's really been the secret. No secrets.
Okay, awesome, sounds good. And then your son is here, Ray. Can you tell us at what age did you have Ray? How you found out about that, and where you were when you had him.
I was 22. I believe I was 22 or 23 when I had Corey, or when Corey was born. And where I was at that time, I was partially incarcerated, as well as being out on the blocks hustling. Pretty much. You guys know everything that I've shared with you. I was pretty much doing that at that particular time. And even though I was doing all those things, I still played a pivotal role, a pivotal part in his life. He's always known who I was. I never abandoned him, never left him hanging.
Awesome. So, Ray, can you tell us what it was like growing up with your father? What your relationship was like as a young child with your father versus what it is now?
So as a child, it was actually pretty good being able to spend weekends with them, do certain things, have them there for birthdays and stuff like that. That is actually something nice that I actually enjoyed. And even now, it still continues, but he calls me every day, and he always tells me to be safe at work and stuff like that. Even though I do an unsafe job, he always say be safe, which I don't get, but I'll be like, all right, I'll be as safe as I can. But today, he's still always there for me, just a phone call away. And we try to do as much as we can for him.
Okay, so he's always, in your eyes, been a great father to you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Sean, so we know that you are, not Angelo's natural son, but you're his stepson. What has it been like growing up with him and having him as a father figure in your life, being married to your mother?
For me, it's been just like a normal dad. Just as straight. I ain't need to cut in the corner just because he's my stepdad. But it was enjoyable though, because not too many men necessarily take responsibility that they don't got to. He could have been a minimal dad, or he had a choice there, so I always appreciated that. But I enjoyed it. Bumping heads just because I like to be out a lot. As soon as I could go out, I wanted to be out. It was a laundry there. I knew I couldn't do certain things. But as I was younger, to me, it more so seemed like I never want to go nowhere. But as I grow older, and I just know, I already knew his past, but in me being young, I'm just thinking about it, okay, he got a past, but he just trying to make sure, we want to do the same stuff that he was getting into, which I wasn't, but he not out there with me, so he don't necessarily know that. He just looking out. But he always been a good dad to me, though.
Right. So, hearing your two sons speak, what do you think about that? Hearing them talk about how positive of a role model you have been to them, and how, your son Corey, even though in your younger days you were out there doing things, and he still felt like he was a great father. Like, how does that feel to you hearing that?
Well, it makes me feel, I would say good, but I'm going to say great. And the reason why I say great is because I've never had my father in my life. And I made a commitment to myself that I will never allow my children to go without their father. Because I knew the pain, I knew the hurt, I knew the loneliness that came with it. And I didn't want them to experience that. And whatever it took for me to play a part in their lives, even with my, Sean, I hate calling him my stepson because I raised him like my son, and that's what I'm going to keep calling him. But it makes you feel good knowing that you are doing something positive in your child's life, because out on the streets it's hard to find a positive role model. Somebody that's going to lead you in the right direction and give you good constructive criticism. And to have a person in your home that gives you that advice and helps you and at every phone call when it's necessary for you to be there for them, to have that person in your life, it means the world. It means the world to a child. And I don't know how that feels, but watching them and hear them, on tonight, I see how they feel. I can see how they feel, but I don't know how they feel because I've never experienced that. And that's what makes me feel good about, sharing my life with my kids.
So you do have other children,
yes.
What you spoke about. Has any of your children ever been incarcerated?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us what that was like for you as a parent, knowing your history and where you are now. How do you feel about that, and what have you done to help that child or children overcome those obstacles?
Well, he's doing much better now. I'm so proud of him, and I'm a firm believer that all of us, we have our own road that we have to go down, whatever that predestinated road is. And that's what I had to get in touch with. All of my children, they have their own predestinated road to go down, as well as myself. And I put myself in his shoes. 2 reasons. One is because I've been there, and 2, God delivered me from that same path. And with me having been down that road already, it's easier for me, instead of beating him down because he made a bad decision, I give him as much information that I can to try to help him not make that decision anymore. And it's been a while since he's been in jail. I want to say a couple of years, and he's finally getting it. I think because of me not beating him down, me just loving on him, just loving on him, giving him something that I didn't have when I was coming up. I didn't have anybody giving me positive feedback or constructive criticism. I was always stepped on. I was always told that you're gonna be just like your dad. And to hear those words, you'll find yourself being like your father. And I refused, and now I can tell my son, you're gonna be just like your dad. I'm proud to say you're gonna be just like your dad, because you're gonna be just like me. When God bring him out, when he finally get himself together 100%, he's gonna be just like me.
Awesome. That's good to hear. So how do you feel like your bond overall with all of your children? Because you have how many in total?
I had 9. My oldest one, he died. He died like 10 years ago. And I have 8. I have 8 children. And my wife and I together, we have 8 children.
Okay, so how do you feel like your relationships with your children, especially like the older ones that have been around a little longer, how do you feel that going for you?
I think it's going well. At first, when they start getting into teenage years, you always have a little bit of tug of war going on. because, you know, they want to do their thing. They have their own agenda, and which is fine. You know, everyone has their own agenda. But like I said earlier, you know, being on that road, it reminds you of some of the snares and the traps that the devil has for you. And our responsibility as a parent is not to control them, but try to help guide them around those traps. They think we're controlling them, but we're not. We're just trying to guide them around those snares that the devil has set up for them to try to make them fail, or be unsuccessful, or be a statistic like some of the other you know, kids that are out here. So with that being said, that's the only issue that I really have with my kids. Other than that, but everything else has been fine.
All right, Cameron, tell us about your papa.
Grandpapa, what do you think it is? It's a good one. Why? He helps take care of you. You love your papa.
Good, awesome. Ray, how are you? Do you love your papa? Yes. You got good papa? Yes. Awesome. Papa takes care of you? Good. So it was good hearing from you all today. We appreciate you coming on and talking to us. Are there any final comments that you guys would like to say?
I would just like to say that I appreciate this whole opportunity for my husband, for Angelo, to be able to share his story, and hopefully it inspires somebody, you know, some young man or a woman even that's out there that's maybe straying down the wrong path, to see that if you are straying down the wrong path, that you can come back, and that there's always hope. He's always been, like I said, he's always been the type of person that's honest about where he's been, what he's been through, and just maybe he's been through all of that for such a time as this to help somebody else. So I'm proud of you.
I want to just say a little bit. I want to say I just want to say I appreciate you, and appreciate the time that you make for me and my family. Not just for me, you actually make time for a lot of people, even friends that I've had. You made time for them, family that I had. You made time for them. So you're not only there for us as your kids, you actually put time aside in your life to be out there to help other people, and I appreciate it. That's a guidance for me. I kind of soak something like that, and I try to be there for other people myself, so I appreciate it.
Love you, son.
Me too.
All right, there you go.